This ordinary room has a secret life. This is not merely a chair. And this is far more than a rug. It's almost as if the walls and the furniture are alive. The room tells stories, it announces status, and it plots to influence the people who live here. Every room harbors secrets for those who know how to listen. The boundary separating you from the world is not precise. It's not your skin or your clothing. You place part of yourself into your living spaces. You use things to communicate, even more than you use words. Imagine showing a friend a room you spent time and money fixing up to just the way you like it. She takes one look, says,
"Gross. This is the ugliest room I have ever seen."
The comment was about the room, but you feel personally hurt because part of you is in that room, so part of you suffers rejection. Perhaps in a cave thousands of years ago, interior decorating became the first art practiced by humans. And yes, some of that early human self is up there on the wall. That's our first fundamental of interior design. You extend yourself through your creations and possessions. You could say we put some of our interior into our interiors. A piece of furniture sitting on a showroom floor is mere cloth and wood, a chair. But once in a house, it takes on a new life. It becomes part thing and part of its owner's extended self. This explains why parents are so upset at kids who damage furniture or at a tire track on the front lawn. People react to the part of themselves that is in those objects. An attack on part of the world we shape is an attack on our person. People whose home is victimized by a thief often report feeling personally violated. To break into a home is to break into a person as well. University of Chicago researchers did in-home interviews with 82 volunteers. Almost every woman of the house started the conversation by apologizing for the condition of her home. Even in homes that were perfectly clean, researchers heard the line, "Oh, pardon the mess." All recognized their living space as part of themselves. Our second fundamental of interior design concerns the difference between style and design. Style is an expression of personality. Design is about how something works, about how it is used, and that's true of furniture in a room, clothing fashions, or typeface on a printed page. Style can hit you in the face. Design is more subtle. A room or house can have a very strong sense of style, yet be nearly unlivable. And a room can have impeccable design, but lack style. Hotel rooms, for example, need good design, but often lack style since they have no personality to express. Movie theaters clearly illustrate the difference between style and design. When going to the movies was a novelty, their interior suggested foreign lands, opera houses, or even a domed sky with twinkling lights. Today's multiplexes feature bland interiors with little style. Instead, they emphasize design, comfortable seats, good sight lines, excellent acoustics, and quality projection. In a restaurant, design means comfortable and relaxing spaces with good lighting, noise control, and an efficient kitchen. But diners seek more than an efficiently served meal, so restaurants tend to be more stylish than movie theaters. Interior designers work to bring both style and design to a new restaurant. Good design for a space is one that allows people to perform the activities for which that space was created. In a residence, that means allowing people to be themselves. Style is how the owners express themselves, using space as a language. interior designers sometimes have to decorate rooms in which no one lives. How can they create style if there is no personality to express? Many use a clever solution. They create a fictional family to live in the house. The first step in interior design is not what colors or what style furniture, but who lives there. Design choices flow from the people who live in the space. For example, this model home features a family of 4. One child is an infant, the second, a son who loves nature. Interior design magazines and model homes often inspire people looking for ideas for their own homes. One subtle message of these professional interiors is that a room should be complete and finished. In reality, our own houses tend to be works in progress. They await enough money to buy a chandelier. They await babies growing old enough to live with furniture. They reflect the fact that we change. The word style in interior design sometimes refers not to individual expression, but an attempt to capture a look from the past. This room is decorated in a country style. This room in a contemporary style. And this in what is commonly called American colonial. Historical styles rise and fall in popularity, but the idea of capturing the past remains popular. What is old-fashioned today might become a hot new look in 50 years. But decorating a house shouldn't be like going to the ice cream store. I'll have a colonial flavor, or I'll have 1 scoop of Art Deco and a scoop of Victorian. Ideas from the past remain important, but the task of an interior decorator is not to present a list of pre-approved styles, but to help express personality in things and spaces. The space you live in is part of your life story, your biography expressed in things. Our third fundamental of interior design is to realize people use interiors, and consumer goods in general, as status symbols. A status symbol shows where we're at, our status. To most people, a status symbol is outrageously expensive and announces its owner is flush with cash. A 6-car garage with cars, a 21-room mansion with a front lawn the size of a soccer field, a giant diamond ring, for example. The more useless the object, the lower its practical value, and the higher its symbolic value. That's why a true status symbol is frivolous. Say gold-plated faucets or a bathroom for every day of the week. But status symbols are not just for the ultra-rich. We all use things to communicate. A small rented apartment will feature status symbols just as will a 20-room mansion. They just won't cost as much. This chair is more a symbol than something to sit on. The chair says, "Don't sit here." Perhaps it represents success in saving enough money to buy it, or maybe it shows having something better than one's parents could ever afford. Whatever its meaning, the owner clearly feels use will destroy the symbol. Young people often fail to see the meaning of things. I don't understand why they buy this stuff. They hardly ever use it. I mean, no one's been in here since last month. But there is a difference between something that is never used and something that is useless. The unused living room serves as communication, even without people. The elaborate front door and entry foyer serves the need for symbolic meanings, even though rarely used. Along with the living room, it is the stage where performances for guests are given. The living room, for many, is a symbol of family success or achievement, a way of showing off its good taste. It's where most people put their art. Usually, the family room can have comfortable chairs and casual furniture. But the living room has formal chairs no one would want to sit in for long, and dark, polished woods. Perhaps a better name would be the showing room. Even the lack of a living room is a message about status. Living rooms rise and fall in importance, but even with our more casual lifestyles, the desire to show status remains. The next fundamental of interior design is to understand how people relate to things. People tend to be thing specialists, people specialists, self-specialists, or generalists. We all have some of each, but look for yourself in one of these approaches. A thing specialist is intrigued by objects. So what if a chair isn't comfortable? It looks unique. It's cool. It looks expensive. The chair itself is most important. A people specialist might say, I don't care how it looks. What counts is how it works for the family and people I care about. Mom would like it. Your dad would like it. Grandma could do her knitting in it. A people specialist cares most about who uses the thing. A self-specialist judges the chair by asking, is it right for me? What others think of my chair is not important. A generalist strives to balance an interest in people and things. Comfort plays a role, but so do appearance and usefulness. A professional interior designer has to be a generalist. Each of these four approaches interior decorating differently. A couple who share the same space need to understand how each relates to things. If they don't, shaping their rooms could be filled with conflict. The next fundamental of interiors is to realize that although we shape our rooms, they shape us as well. Picture a carnival funhouse filled with mirrors, crazy angles, and secret passages. This funhouse has special powers. You stand back and watch people enter and leave. You notice something strange going on. The house changes everyone who goes through it. People are different when they leave, but the changed people don't seem to notice any difference. The funhouse is a symbol for the rooms we live in every day. Rooms changes slowly and without our awareness. Some research suggests just how subtle that influence can be. In one experiment, 3 groups of subjects were asked to rate pictures of 4 faces in terms of energy and well-being. Each group viewed the same faces, but in different rooms. In other words, only the viewing room was different. Group 1 viewed the photos in a dingy room. It resembled a janitor's storeroom, and a messy one at that. Group 2 viewed the photos in a neat but institutional office. White walls, metal filing cabinets, desk, and chairs. Group 3 viewed the photos in a nicely decorated office with a wooden desk, bookcase, a Navajo rug, draperies, even paintings and sculptures. The results? People in the dingy room rate the faces lowest in energy and well-being. Those who saw the pictures in the neat but dull room rated the faces higher. But those in the pleasant office rated the faces the highest. In other words, the rooms silently influenced the subject's opinions. The nicer the room, the better the faces. An experiment on people who actually worked in rooms like these for 3 weeks found those who worked in the nicest room were the most enthusiastic about their work. Those who worked in this dingy room had all sorts of unpleasant reactions, from headaches and fatigue to downright hostility. None of the subjects suspected the room influenced their feelings. A study of post-surgical hospital patients compared those who had rooms with a window view of trees to those who viewed only a brick wall. Those with a view of the trees took fewer pain relievers and left the hospital 1 day earlier than those with a view of the brick wall. Another study found that students scored higher in a test taken in a comfortable, attractive room than they did on the same test taken in an ugly room. What these studies show is that beautiful surroundings are actually functional. Interior design is not a frill. It affects how we feel and behave. The Chinese recognize that rooms shape people in their 3,000-year-old art of placement called feng shui. It seeks the harmonious use of what the Chinese call qi, the vital energy that moves through people, spaces, and objects. Even these high-tech skyscrapers in Singapore are designed and decorated with careful attention to feng shui, to spaces as people shapers. The beliefs of feng shui range from the clearly practical to the mystical. One common advice about desks is that a person sitting at a desk should face the door. No one should have to work with his or her back towards the door. Mirrors play an important role in feng shui. They can enlarge rooms, amplify existing light, and reroute qi. Mirrors should never cut off people's heads. Antique furniture is to be avoided unless you know its life history. The antique's stale or tragic energy might not blend harmoniously with existing furniture. A popular Chinese saying observes that a vase gets its utility from the space around it, from the part of it that isn't there. A feng shui expert might say breathing spaces allows energy to circulate. A Western designer would say the space allows the shape of the vase to express itself. Both would agree space is not merely an empty something to stuff with furniture. Both feng shui practitioners and professional interior designers agree that interiors shape people just as much as people shape interiors. And both would also agree we're often not aware of the interior patterns we prefer. For example, given a choice, people will prefer rooms that have outside light coming from at least 2 directions. A room with only one source of light feels less natural and comfortable. Examine the rooms you live in to test the pattern. It's a pattern that influences feelings even without your awareness. We see interiors with our eyes, but we react to their colors, materials, shapes, and odor with our bodies, with gut reactions. Rooms affect our adrenal systems, our brain waves, our hormonal balance. We can't really like a place unless it feels good physically. Our next fundamental of design recognizes that furniture arrangement communicates and influences behavior. Sometimes the communication is quite obvious. This arrangement says that the TV is the most important part of the room. Conversation is less likely to take place in this room. Here, the chairs are placed about 12 feet apart. Having a conversation with someone that far away is like talking on a speakerphone. This arrangement is not conversation-friendly. But here, the furniture arrangement encourages human interaction. An experiment in a doctor's office suggests that even a desk can influence how people feel. When the doctor sat behind the desk with a patient in front, only 1 in 10 were judged to feel at ease. But when the desk was removed, over half the patients were at ease in the office. The desk acted as a kind of barrier that made patients less comfortable. Another fundamental of interior design is that people prefer to live with the familiar rather than the strange. 21st century furniture still has to resemble what was built in the 18th or 19th centuries. So-called traditional furniture is the most purchased today. Contemporary styling remains a minority taste. Many people feel even a well-designed contemporary interior is cold or lacks feeling. Such comments are not so much about interior design as about oneself. They say, I feel more comfortable with a look that suggests the past. Traditional styles give some sense of connection to the past, sort of the design equivalent of chicken soup. Decorating is about feelings. When a couple decorates living space they share, important questions arise. Questions that can seriously test a marriage. Whose identity is expressed in the house? His or hers? In a college dorm, shared living space is often split down the middle, so the room style is sort of half yours and half mine. But this won't work for a house, so the owners need to understand how they relate to the physical world and what they want to say with their interior space. In summary, interior decorating is about much more than fabric swatches and paint chips. It's about how we see ourselves and how we want to be perceived by others. The rooms and houses we live in are both shaped by us and shape us. We decorate and create living spaces, but those spaces in turn influence us. We all know the expression, "You are what you eat," yet we don't identify with our food. We don't expect to turn into a French fry, but we do identify with that space called home. A more psychologically satisfying description might be, you are where you live.